How's it going, everybody? It's Stas here. So the markets dumped this morning. We got some news that Japan declared a state of emergency in Tokyo for the upcoming Olympics, and as countries in general deal with a rebound in the CV cases due to the different variants that are out right now. And we also got news that spectators could be possibly banned from the Olympic Games, which are set to start here, I believe, in the end of July, 23rd of July, if I'm not mistaken, and those run throughout the 8th of April, or not April, August. So I want to break down everything in this video. We'll take a look at some charts, go over my thoughts and how I'm approaching this. So sit back, relax, go down below, get your $50 from M1 Finance. All you have to do is use my link, deposit $100, and we each get $50 to invest with. And you guys could check out my Patreon for all my real-time moves. That is also linked right down below. So like I said, we got this scare out of Tokyo, and you guys know at this point the markets are globalized. So if we get some news out of Europe, out of Asia, wherever, Australia even, that could impact the U.S. markets. And that's kind of what we got today. We got a knee-jerk reaction to this. I mean, you guys can see SPY was at 434 yesterday, and we got all the way down to 427 in the pre-market. So we were down about 1.6, 1.7% there, and now we're snapping back up. We're still down on the day, down 0.7%, but from that pre-market low at 427.50, now we're at 431. We're up about 0.9 to 1%. So we have snapped back a bit. And I mentioned this on Patreon this morning. I feel like the drop was a knee-jerk reaction. And I feel like we'd get a further sell-off if the cases in the United States were to spike, if the variants got here, which who knows if that were to happen or if it's already happening. I'm not really sure, but if we got a big spike in cases here, and if we got a state of emergency in the U.S. again, where, you know, the economy that's been opening starts to slow down again and close down again, that is when I believe we'd get a bigger sell-off here. But the fact that we're just seeing this happening in Tokyo, they're doing a state of emergency there, that is a reason why we're not getting so much of a drop right now in the U.S. markets, if that makes any sense. At least that's my personal opinion. And who knows, in a month from now, 2 months from now, if the cases start spiking here, the variants here in the U.S., we start shutting down, like I said, that is where things could get very ugly in the U.S. markets. But until then, I feel like markets are bouncing back. You guys can see here on the 4-hour chart when it comes to SPY, we ended up holding a higher low right around the 180 SMA here on the 4-hour chart. We're now trading above the 50 SMA as well. And if we pull up the 5-day, 5-minute, one thing worth mentioning is we are trading above both moving averages here as well, but we are about to test yesterday's low, which was at about 431, 432. As, you know, it was yesterday's low. Now it's a resistance, so we're about to test that. And if we're able to break out of there, I feel like we're going to coast back up to all-time highs, whether it's today, whether it's tomorrow, some point next week. As long as we break back over 432, that is where we could see a bigger snap back up, kind of as the dust settles here. So I'm going to put an alert at $432 per share on SPY, and pulling up QQQ. This one's down 0.6% right now. This tracks the NASDAQ 100. Very similar here to SPY. On the 5-day, 5-minute, we are seeing a bit of resistance at 359, 360. That was support yesterday, so the fact that we're about to test that as resistance right now, we have to see how that plays out. But if we break 360, like SPY, this could end up smooth sailing back up to all-time highs in the very short term, that is. And, of course, we're going to get more clarity around the variants here, what Tokyo's doing, the Olympics, which could also stir up some more volatility in the very short term. But I'm still sticking to that USA theory where I'm saying, look, if the cases stay down here, as long as we're open here in the U.S., I feel like the markets should be in pretty good shape. But the second things get ugly here, if they get ugly, hey, anything could happen, as we saw back in March of 2020. So watch out for those key spots when it comes to SPY and QQQ. And another thing worth mentioning on QQQ is the fact that we did pull down to the 50 SMA this morning. We held that and we rallied back up. So it looks like the uptrend is maintained here on the 4-hour chart. So what are your thoughts? Let me know down below in the comments. I'd love to know. Make sure to smash that like button if you guys are finding value in the video so far. And now let's talk about some stocks I'm looking at and my strategy here in the very short term. You guys know, and I've been mentioning this for the past couple of videos, I'm in a pretty good cash position, 50%. 45% in my trading account, and I did make a move today in my non-trading account, my long-term account. I nibbled a little bit more VOO, which is an S&P 500 ETF, and the way I view this, guys, is I'm looking, at least with VOO, I'm looking to just average in over time, dollar cost average on dips, right? Mini dips, and especially during corrections and bear markets. That's what I've been doing for years, and this is kind of like the core of my portfolio. I like to have a stable ETF that tracks the overall markets and then build stocks around it. That's kind of what, although I'm not a financial advisor, that's what I tell people out there to do based on my experience, especially if you're a beginner. You know, if you're a beginner, it's very important to just buy ETFs, hold them, and then learn about the markets as you go, and then start investing in individual stocks. I wish someone told me that years ago when I got into the markets, because let me tell you, when I got into the markets, I got straight into penny stocks, high risky, crappy stocks, and I lost a lot of money the first year or two until I learned that, hey, you got to take it easy. You got to look longer term here. Stop making or trying to make the quick buck, which led me to losing a lot of money. And that's kind of how I learned to build a foundation, build around the ETF, and trade after you've built a foundation and you've understood how the markets work. And by trade, I mean short-term trading, swing trading, day trading. I really don't advise anybody to do that unless they understand how the market works, they have a long-term portfolio, and then they trade around it, if that makes any sense. So I bought a little VOO today, and in terms of further volatility, which we could see, you know, the VIX is up 11.6% right now. It was up 25% earlier in the day, which is nuts. We're going to be looking at, and by where I really mean me, I'm looking at, you guys can do whatever you want, I'm looking at SPXL and SPXS, as well as SQQQ and TQQQ. These are leveraged ETF combos that trade based on QQQ, or in other words, the NASDAQ 100, and the S&P 500. So, for example, the S&P 500, let's say it goes up 3%, or let's say, for, you know, to keep it easy, let's say the S&P goes up 1%. SPXL, since it's a leveraged ETF, will go up 3%. This is an S&P 500 bull ETF. So let's say markets are going up and we want to trade in and out based on the S&P. SPXL is the way to do that. It's a leveraged ETF, like I said. So let's say we think the markets are going to go lower. There's going to be volatility. SPXS is a way to play the downside of the S&P. So let's say the S&P goes down 1%. SPXS will go up 3%. And that is how we can play a falling market. You know, a lot of people think the only way to profit on downside is shorting the markets or doing put options. No, that's not the only way. You can trade these leveraged ETFs as well. SPXS is a bear 3X ETF. So I'm looking at that combo for the S&P, and SQQQ is literally the same thing, but it's on the QQQ, right? So let's say QQQ were to drop 3%, SQQQ would go up 9%. So that is a way you can trade that. And TQQQ, if QQQ went up 3%, TQQ would go up 9%, if that makes any sense. And full disclosure here, guys, these are very difficult to trade. They're not meant for swing trading, long-term holding. These are day trading tools. So if you see a lot of volatility, these you can hop in and out of. And if you time them correctly, obviously, it's easier said than done. you could make money in the short term. So some individual stocks I'm looking at Square, ticker symbol SQ. This one's down 3.4% as of right now, down about $8. And it looks like we got rejected by the resistance of the wedge here. Now we're trading down towards that 180 SMA at about 225. It looks like we held it in the pre-market. SQ was down to 230 earlier. Now it's at 236. So maybe we get some sort of rebound play back towards 250, $260 here on SQ. So I'm going to be looking out for that. DraftKings is another one that's my biggest swing right now. I didn't get to add more to it this morning. I kind of regret missing. Well, I missed the timing of it. So I'm not going to force it here, but DraftKings, I'm in at about $52, $51, and I would love to average down, and we'll see. In these next coming days, if we do get more downside on DraftKings, I will be adding more to it. And I'm also looking at Occidental Petroleum, which I'm already in right now. I bought this one yesterday, and mind you guys, the oil stocks for the most part are doing pretty well today. They're holding up. This is a one that I bought at about $29.50 yesterday. Now it's at $29.75. So I'm looking to maybe add more to this if it continues to break out. And the gold stocks are doing well today. GDX, well, never mind. They were doing well last time I checked. GDX is now down 2%. GDXJ is probably down as well, 2.5%. So these are ones that I'm holding, looking to add more on this downside. And that's pretty much it, guys. I'm not looking to make any crazy knee-jerk reaction moves today. I'm just keeping it safe, keeping it simple, and I'm just letting the markets play out. And on the plus side, we're seeing Virgin Galactic and AMC crushing it today, and GNOG is also crushing it, which is one of my long-term plays, Golden Nugget Online Gaming. Haven't talked about that in a while. That one's up about 8-9% right now. So what are you guys up to? Let me know down below in the comments. I'd love to know. As always, smash that like button, subscribe. Make sure to go down below, check out my Patreon if you want all my real-time buys, sells, calls, outs, and if you want a morning update video every single day, check out the top tier on Patreon. That's linked down below, or you guys can go to StockSurfest.com/Patreon. Make sure to also get your $50 from M1 Finance, your 2 stocks up to $1,600 from Webull. Those are both linked down below. Check it out, guys. It's literally free money. See you there. And yeah, enjoy those free stocks, the free money. Check out the Patreon. I'll catch you all in the next video. Thanks for tuning in again. As always, keep crushing the markets, guys. Stay safe out there. Peace out.